There you are, prompted to join us, and there you are. So let me give you a quick overview of the zone, and then Ed can be our tour guide and kind of wander us around. So this is Murkmire. You're in the capital city, Lilmoth. This is a new zone. It is similar in size and scope to our Clockwork City and Dark Brotherhood DLCs. It's got about 8 to 10 hours of story. It's got 2 objectives, 2 delves, 2 group bosses, a whole bunch of independent content quests, 3 sets of dailies, whole bunch of cool toys. The main focus of the zone story is on a treasure hunt for a fabled Argonian relic called the Remnant of Argon. And most of the other stories, we try to focus more on the Argonian culture. People get a chance to see what that's like. There's also a new arena. This is a 4-person leaderboard arena called the Black Rose Prison. We talk a bit about that later when we wander past. And we have our ESO Plus loyalty system. We're going to add a new section in our Crown Store for our ESO Plus members. It'll give free items away, as well as discounts on Crown Store sort of cosmetic items. Additionally, we are increasing our monthly stipend to 1,650 crowns, so you get a little more bang for your buck. And also, for PvP players and Cyrodiil, we are adding destructible mile gates and bridges. This should give people a lot more control over the flow of the zone. So you could break a bridge, and then the only way for people to go is either around it or to fight you and repair it. So this really will give the Alliance much more opportunity, and you as even a small group to actually control the zone. So we're kind of excited to see how that will go. And to support that, we've added a few additional outposts. That's to kind of balance things out so that we have an even number of attack and defense points for the Alliance. But I don't want to drone on and on, so how about I turn this over to Ed, and he can give us the world tour.
Okay, so Jason, I'm going to just run you guys around the zone. I'm going to talk about some of the areas and things. If I go too fast, or if there's someplace you want to stop and take a look or ask some questions, please chime in. Jeremy's usually good at keeping me from going too fast, but please, this is here to answer your questions and show the zone off to you. So consider me a tour guide.
Whoops.
So, for example, Lilmoth has a justice system.
So I
if you
see.
were to say haul off and whack a guard, it might not go well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't go quite the way I thought it would.
Well, let me bring you back up here. Okay, so
it is a lawless town, but there are guards around.
Yeah.
There is another area that actually is a little more free for all. For
Yeah.
those of you that are a little more free with your weaponry.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, this is Lilmoth. It is the festering jewel of Murkmire. Murkmire is the southernmost area of Black Marsh, the zone, populated primarily by Argonians. But as you can see, looking around Lilmoth, there are a lot of different races represented here, and that's because Lilmoth is sort of the gateway to Murkmire. People who want to do trading, adventuring, exploring, they come here first. They come in through our nice little harbor. We've got navigators here that'll lead you to the different outer zones of Tamriel, and we got just a bunch of really cool little skiffs and ships here. You'll notice that this is a little bit different than most of our harbors because the water here is shallow. You can't bring a really deep vessel in here. They have to take you out through the waterways out to the ocean where you can catch a larger ship to go up. Now, we don't show you that, but that's the basic conceit. As we
You
come
can
down,
actually see the sail of a ship in the distance.
yeah, as you come down here, we're not gonna head out to the south here, but as you can see, we're actually fairly far away from the coastline, or are we? Because one of the things that happens in Murkmire is the coastline changes. 10 years from now, this could all be underwater, or a couple of months from now, this could all be all dried out. The Argonians sort of plan ahead for that sort of thing. They understand the impermanence of things and that they may have to pick up and move several times during their lifetime, so they don't get too attached to the structures and everything that they build. I'm just kind of wandering around sort of some of the areas of Murkmire, or sorry, of Lilmoth here. Here we can sort of see over a little stockade. This is one of the things Jeremy was referring to, is that there's some justice area in there. It's trespassing to go in there because some of our non-Argonians have set up shop, and they're trying to protect their area. And you can see over here, this is where some of the prior invasions, like the Imperials come into Black Marsh, they think they're going to be able to take it over like they've taken over so many other places, but they build a big house and it sinks into the swamp. They build another house and it sinks into the swamp.
Didn't quite work out the way they planned.
Exactly. Yeah, but that's kind of what Black Marsh does. Is Argonians are the only race that really avoided being subjugated by the Empire, because they could always retreat deeper into Black Marsh. They could breathe underwater, so they could just dive down into lakes and hide out. But when they build a structure, they're smart about it. As we come over here to sort of the western side of Lilmoth, you can see these stick huts, these nice towers and things that were built by the Argonians, because they recognized that the water might roll in at any time, or the ground might get soft and they might sink. So they put things like their banks and their crafting areas up top on these nice little pedestals. But they still live on the ground. Here's a nice little cafe area. We've got an Argonian bard playing a Vasa Saddle, or frog bagpipe. If you look really closely, you can actually see the frogs down at the base of the bagpipes. Our audio department, Brad, Derek, Bill Mueller, and their team spent quite a bit of time strangling frogs. I mean, trying to come up with sounds that would sound like Argonian music. And I think they did a good job. They also show off the fact that the Argonians can be different. Like, some of the bards play kind of happy, funny, dancing music and have funny or strange songs, whereas other ones play serious things, and you hear dirges or laments or something like that. So because we're actually in Murkmire, we're actually getting to see Argonians at home for the very first time. Prior to this, Shadowfen is an area under siege. Argonians in Vardenfell were captured and taken there as slaves. Argonians you see in other places are often soldiers or warriors out on the Alliance War. Here, we're getting to see what they're like when they're home. Many of the Argonians here have never left Black Marsh. So you're going to get to see some different cultures and different societies. Over here, we actually see something that harkens to the Argonians' past. Centuries ago, there was the Age of Dust, when Argonians thought building in stone was their future. They thought they'd create an empire like the Mayans or the Aztecs or something. But that was a way that turned them away from the Hist, and they realized that wasn't the way to go. So they kind of abandoned building in stone and went to building the more temporary structures, because they felt that made them more in tune with nature and the Hist and everything. But they're not ashamed of their culture. They just don't fixate on the past. They're more interested in the present and the future. So moving around Murkmire, you're going to see lots of these remnants. Over here we have a Zanmir that is mentioned in Elder Scrolls lore. This will be the first time you actually get to go into it. Players who take the quest to go into the Zanmir will engage in kind of an Indiana Jones style quest. They'll be dealing with traps and dealing with monsters and things and puzzles, and they'll have to get out with an Argonian artifact, an Argonian relic that is key to the completion of the main quest. So yeah, there's the Zanmir. We kind of shortened the old name. It had like 26 letters or something. We're calling it the Ixath Zanmir, or the Sunken Zanmir. But trust me, it's pretty cool. Or actually, don't trust me, play it when it comes out. I think you'll like that more. Our world builders did a really nice job of mixing in the Argonian ruins and their new structures with a terrific biome. We've actually studied lots of different swamp areas. Like we took a look at Amazonian swamps and equatorial stuff, southern United States, all that, and also even places like southern England where you have fens and things. We wanted to have, swamps and swamp-like areas, but not all look the same. Here in the southern area of Murkmire, we get things like these mangrove-style trees with their roots up out of the water, and we have a coastal environment. Trees are small, they're placed well apart from each other, and the area is pretty well lit. As we go further and further in, things get darker, stranger, and more dense, as you're going to see.
Yeah, I really like this style of swamp biome.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Well, this is pretty representative of the southern area of Murkmire, so I hope you'll like the other areas too. Oh, as you notice, we've got one of our special critters kind of floating about here, these swamp jellies. They're just critters, but you can scavenge resources off of them, and you can even get them as a pet through either quest activity or the crown store.
I'm not gonna lie, they sort of remind me of Dragon Quest with the heel slimes.
Okay.
Little floating jellies.
Mm-hmm. Well,
right. For us, we have netches, which has been something for ESO for a while. But yes, I see what you're saying. Certainly inspired.
Mm-hmm. Off to the south, if you look down there. Oh, actually, crouch now. Hit control. All right, see over here, there's this little glowing plant.
Mm-hmm.
This is called a scuttle bloom. One of the things that we did in Murkmire is we decided that since the swamp is alive, we should have a lot more unusual plants, and this is one of them. If you creep up on this, you can actually harvest it. If you surprise it, or sorry, if it surprises you, it will turtle up and be non-interactable. That's one of about a half a dozen unusual plants we've got in here. That's the only one that won't actually do something awful to you. If you
I like the way you said.
Yeah, if you're running around the zone and you're not paying attention, there are some plants that will do you damage or knock you down or something like that. And our encounter designers, led by Sean Wicks and his team, did a terrific job of placing those things near treasure chests, near predators, all sorts of things that make a lot of sense. Like if you're a predator and you know how these plants work, you're going to take up position near them so that if somebody is attracted to them or damaged by them, you can jump in and eat them. Oh, one of our little dragon frogs or whatever. Yep, tangerine dragon frog. I wonder if it tastes like a tangerine. Here's another fun lore bit. I don't know how steeped you are in Elder Scrolls lore or how many of the games you played, but one of the things we did is we looked back on different iterations of Black Marsh, and this little outpost here is called Alton Mirhiliel. In Elder Scrolls lore, in the future, there will be a town here called Alton Mirhall, which is kind of an important town in the arena game. So we wanted to show you this is the way it started. This is, just a couple of buildings, a couple of vendors. It's kind of like an outpost, the last stop before you go into the deeper, darker marsh. We don't know why it survived and so many other places sunk into the swamp, but we think maybe one of the reasons is it's a holder of this little arena here, this little play field. What's the game they're playing here, Jeremy?
Tiba Inu.
Yeah, or hip and tail ball for those of you who can't wrap your tongue around the syllables. This is a funny little.
A few of them stuck, not all of them.
Yeah, this is a funny little Argonian game. It's played with a ball that actually changes color sometimes. The rules of it are similar to a cross between football, rugby, and possibly a audience participation rave. I guarantee that if you sit here and listen to an Argonian explain it, and we do have some that will talk about it, you will leave more confused than you started.
Also here, if you'll note on the ground, this is one of our cool little new critters. This is called the mudhopper. It's kind of like a little catfish / frog thing. He turned out pretty awesome.
Oh yeah.
I do not think he's involved in the game, but I wouldn't bet against it.
There's always a chance.
Yep. Our figure team did a terrific job coming up with some new looks for our creatures and monsters and everything. We're going to see a bunch of them as we go along. But I like the fact that everything in this zone really looks like it's at home. It has a place. Nothing looks like it's just dropped in. Yeah. Oh, hey, there's one of those plants I was talking about. Oh, sorry, I got attacked by some Blackards. Let's finish these guys off. Blackards are a faction of former criminals. Well, not former, they're criminals, but former prisoners.
Still criminals.
Yeah, they're still criminals. Former prisoners who broke out of Black Rose Prison, which Jeremy's going to talk about a little bit later. But but they're scattered throughout the zone as well. So if you run into them, they're always worth killing. Okay, so you see to the left of the Wamasu, there's this strange-looking little plant. It's called a lantern mantis. If you crouch down, you'll notice that it glows, very much like a trap that you'd find in one of our dungeons. And exactly like one of those traps, if you sneak up on it, you can interact with it and temporarily disable it. It's a living creature. You can't actually kill it, but it can cause you trouble if you don't. Here, let me show you what happens if you don't sneak up on it. So I'm going to run up, and spears me with its pointy things. Now, if the Wamasu had been paying attention, that would have made this fight that much more difficult. So now I'm going to sneak up and see if I can incapacitate it. Okay, so now it falls over. Now it'll come back. I can't actually kill it. Much like our traps, you can incapacitate it similar to the way you disarm a trap, but it will eventually wake back up. We have like I said, about a half dozen of those things throughout the zone. So you just have to keep your eye out and see which ones they are and what they do. I believe there's actually an achievement for finding all of them and incapacitating them.
Over here is another one of our new creatures. These are the hackwings. I kind of like to think of them like the velociraptors in Jurassic Park. It's just one of them is very cute, but they don't tend to travel in ones. So you end up with a
small horde.
So yes, as an individual character, if you're not paying attention, these guys can give you a nice smacking. The three of us should probably be okay, but
yeah.
Even then, if you're not paying attention, they may still knock you down.
Yep.
Nasty little beasts.
They're, again, a fun pack creature that the counter team, like if you look over here, they did a nice job of placing this around a Blackard camp where they must have surprised the Blackards and taken them out because they weren't paying attention. So
I love the little details.
Mm-hmm.
Doing our art department that does cool little staged vignettes, and then our encounter designers do real nice kind of staging. That's definitely a crocodile.
Oh, there's another one of the mantis plants.
Oh, yeah, yep. We try and make sure that you run into them frequently if you're not paying attention. Yep. Here's another beastie, an aptly named bear lizard.
I don't think I like the idea of a bear lizard.
He doesn't appear to like me.
That doesn't sound very hospitable.
Yeah, this is definitely Argonian naming in action. They either give it a name with 16 syllables and 27 X's, or they name it something very descriptive like bear lizard. I kind of prefer the bear lizard.
Bear lizard's easier to say.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Or hack wings.
So one of the things, as Jeremy pointed out, we have 2 world bosses. And one of the things we really tried to do with our world bosses and with everything else in the zone is kind of tell the zone story without necessarily quests. There are a number of dailies that are associated with fighting the world boss, but this particular world boss, Baxilt Ga, or the Fen Necromancer, she plays into the main story, or well, not to the story of the zone, in that she is a necromancer. One of the things you learn about Argonians is that they are very tied into the Hist, very sort of nature spirit sort of thing, where they believe that if they die, their spirits will return to their history and they will be reincarnated as part of their tribe. But, you know, one of the worst things you can do is to wrench them out of the cycle and make them undead. So that's what this Fen Necromancer is doing. She's trying to create an army of undead, and you have to stop her. One of the things she's done is she's stolen these grave stakes. You see this kind of totem pole-like thing here? Argonians carve these grave stakes. Some of them will carve their own throughout their life, and it'll tell the story of their lives. Sometimes their family members will carve them for them after they've died. But the important thing is when they bury an Argonian in a swamp, they actually stake them down using a grave stake so that they won't come back as undead. Unfortunately, she has stolen a bunch of grave stakes and has used them to summon up bodies that are now ripped out of the Hist, and you kind of have to put her down and take them back. But anyway, that gives you an insight into Argonian culture and their belief system in reincarnation and everything. I don't think we're going to be tough enough to take her on with just the three of us. So if it's okay with you, I think we'll scoot over. I mean, we can if you want, but I don't.
Yeah, we can move on. Discretion's the better part of valor.
Yeah.
She felt intimidated, I could tell.
Yeah.
We're letting her off easy this time.
Yep. Now, as we come out of here, we're going to actually see some different undead. Like those were skeletons and everything, but here we have something unique to Murkmire: the bog blights. These guys they look very much like zombies, but as you notice, they're filled with swamp gas, and they start shooting that gas at you, and that one just exploded. So that can happen. These are Argonians who presumably were not staked down in the swamp and came back. But we're not exactly sure what creates the bog blights. We know that they're just kind of a pain to fight. I think
yeah, it's a little touch I like. Over here is a bog blight that was staked down and yet still came back. He's over here still.
Yep.
Somewhere.
Yep, he's right
there. He is. He's hanging out here, and you'll see he ineptly tries to get out of the ground, but he's still staked down. That's this guy right here. Just a second, he's going to get angry and pop back up. And then in his anger, he then does that, and he's like, bam! It's the little things. I can't help it. You look like you need a heal. There you are. See, if a healer were paying attention. Is that? Oh no, that's a mantis. We already showed you that.
Here's a catapult cabbage.
Oh, cool.
So, to show off what this thing does. Oh, I managed to avoid it accidentally, but basically the catapult cabbage lives up to its name. It will throw you a distance, and because Murkmire has things like quicksand and other creatures and things, that can be pretty dangerous in a fight. So. Fortunately, if you're in combat, we actually give you a tell that's similar to when you're crouching down. Yep, there you go. So that you don't accidentally run into those things if you're paying attention. Let me see. We're kind of near Black Rose Prison. Would you like to take a look?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, we may have to fight our way through, but right over here toward the northwest, you can see the towers of Black Rose. This is another historic site. Jeremy knows a little bit more about it than I do, so.
So this was done by our Dungeons, Arenas, and Trials team, aptly named for the arenas in this case. It is Black Rose Prison, back in the second era, or early second era, which we were in the kind of the middle or later end of. It was an infamous prison that was built and maintained by the Imperials, but like everything else, it kind of sunk into the swamp, and they said, screw this.
Maybe it's not worth it.
And either they got overtaken or they just said the hell with it. But in the end, it became the criminals now use it as a bit of a sanctuary. So it's now actually filled with criminal scum, and it's the Black Ones. So you, with a group of 4 players, can go into this arena, and we could walk in the door. I wouldn't necessarily suggest we go much further, but if you want to, we could take a quick peek in. And basically, there are 5 arenas. Each one is progressively more difficult. They can be played in normal mode, which is kind of for your average group of players, or in veteran mode, which can be for your much more high-end players. This actually is a leaderboard arena, so you also can get community props for kicking buttocks in this arena. So yeah, we can wander around in this area, but if we go any further, it will be pretty deadly. But I think they did a really awesome job of just kind of selling. This has been retaken kind of by the world. But yes, if you wander down that path and you hit one of 5 arenas, basically you're going through each cell block and you're doing an arena battle in each cell block against the various cell block champions. And in the end, you have the mega battle royale against all of them. And you get that for fabulous prizes, including new arena weapons, which are kind of akin to our Dragon Sword or Maelstrom arena weapons, and that they're kind of geared for end game and, in this case, group content. We probably wander back out and head towards Deadwater.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Similarly, if we're gluttons for punishment, we could walk in and make it about 20 seconds. I'm sorry. Be clear, I'm selling Ed short. I'm sure you're an awesome player.
Well, we're also down one person, and nobody's playing a healer.
Yeah, that was well done. Yeah. What else we got? So yeah, if we want to wander out and head towards Headwater.
Hey, before we start walking, you were talking about the awards and everything. If you actually look at our characters, we're each wearing one of 3 unique sets of armor that are done for Murkmire. I'm wearing the heavy armor set, which is
so that's
the champion of the Hist.
And for getting the 5-piece bonus, you'll get ultimate generation. And then I am wearing the Bright Throat's Boast, which is the light armor. And naturally, these can be worn by any race, any class, because that's sort of the ESO goal. But this is kind of geared towards the magic-y bits. And you can get additional magic generation if you drink magic potions. So it kind of helps boost your magic again. And then we also have a medium set of armor, which is called Deadwater's Guile, which helps you with ultimate generation as long as you're kicking butt and taking names. I think if you kill something within 2 seconds, then it'll give you an additional ultimate. I'm probably saying that poorly, but it's more DPS, tank, and kind of healer style or magical style.
Gotcha.
Towards.
And these are the armor sets that you get in the Overland, like from getting treasure chests and such. We also have motifs that you can get as part of the daily quests. We have Delve dailies, World Boss dailies, and then we have a special type of daily you unlock after you do the main quest. And I don't want to give away the nature of it, but we call them the village quests. They're bear lizard.
A strange reason. Why do we call them village dailies? There's another catapult cabin.
Yep. Oh, also, you notice we've moved well into Region 2 now. You can see this area, while it's still swampy, has also quite a bit of rocks. The trees are closer together. And if you notice, the fog plane is a little bit closer. It's a little darker in here. We're just trying to show the players that, things are changing. Things are getting a little more serious as they move further and further in. Hello, Catapult Cabbage.
It's one of the things we liked about choosing this part of the world is it had a nice diverse set of biomes. We really could kind of show off things. So as you get deeper, things get closer and darker. That feel should definitely...
You did that to me. Oh, here's another one of our plants around the other side of this tree. This one's the gas blossom.
Oh, I'm sorry. Don't follow me. I don't know where he's going.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
Oh, there he is. Oh, sorry, and I spoiled the reveal.
That's okay. I'm sure we'll run into more.
And then got aggro.
Oh.
See? Pug experience. Getting it all right here. Yeah, we like to joke that everything in this area tries to kill you, even the plants. We also have a new kind of deadly water that's why do I blank?
Well, we have Death Water, which this tribe is actually named for because they have a big patch of it. Death Water is like acidic quicksand. It will kill you.
Well, that sounds like horrible.
Yeah. Now the thing is, it is much like slaughterfish and stuff. You do get kind of a warning, so if you get into it, you can get out again. But then there's also just regular quicksand around, which will slow you down severely.
Actually, you're probably noticing right now, this is a new model style. These are called the Naga. This is a unique set of Argonians. They look kind of snake or tadpole-like rather than kind of your classic, more lizard man style. So yeah, this is a specific subspecies of...
So players can't be this style?
Not at the moment, no.
Definitely something we have discussed, but yeah, at the moment these are unique to these NPCs.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, that's fine. So the Naga, again, they're a subspecies of Argonian. The Deadwater are another tribe of Argonian. So all Deadwater are Naga, but not all Naga are Deadwater. These particular Argonians are they live here under this history. If you look up towards the northwest, you can see this giant sort of squat, wide history. It almost looks like it's a fortification of itself. Well, the Argonians who live here, the Deadwater tribe, they believe that strength and invincibility are, their key to survival in Murkmire. They do everything they can to become stronger, better warriors. But as a result, they've kind of closed themselves off to other things, and they've become very sort of xenophobic and isolationist. I mean, they're not going to attack you on sight, but if you talk to any of them, they're not going to be very friendly. They're always training for war, and they believe that they have to put their young through trials and everything. And you're going to get involved with them because they're finding out that their way of doing things maybe isn't the most successful, because their lives have not gotten particularly easier just because they've abandoned everything but war. The Deadwater are one of two tribes we're featuring in Murkmire. There's the Bright Throats, who are over on the east, and you'll actually encounter them first, but we wanted to go up this way to get you a look at Region 2 and 3. The Bright Throats are very diplomatic and friendly. They're almost the opposite of the Deadwater, but they have, problems of their own. So as part of the main quest and as part of the objective quests, you're going to have to sort of fill in the blanks for the different tribes. For the Deadwater, they're great warriors, but they need somebody who can think, who can feel, who can help them get out of their trouble. Because right now, if you look at this whole village is built around these giant stone ruins, but the northern half of the village is totally taken over by the wilderness again. There are monsters and dangerous plants here. These horrivores are going around sucking people's blood. There are, hackwings and everything around here, and that's because the Deadwater tribe is actually losing ground. They're in danger of becoming extinct. If you don't help them out, they will be. Here's another one of our dangerous plants. I'm going to go trigger this one. It's a static picture. As you can see, it shocks you. Again, you can try and disarm it if you want to sneak up on one. Nope, it noticed you.
And you may also have noticed when we were fighting the Horver that you actually see the ring around it when you're fighting, so that way it makes it a little easier for you not to back into it accidentally while we're fighting.
One of the things I really like is that like Jason Barnes, the designer who did the objective quest here, and Janet Priblo, who did the objective quest for the Brightwater tribe, did almost what I would call like sort of mirrored activities. You're doing things that feel very appropriate to the area you're in, but things that also are very complementary. As part of the main quest, you have to learn about the Argonian culture, and we wanted to show that it's diverse. Not all Argonians are the same or have the same outlook. They all are devoted to the Hist, but in completely different ways. The designs of those objective quests really showcase the difference between the Deadwater and the Bright Throats. Let me see. We're doing pretty well on time. Do we want to see if we can find some Voroplasm?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think we can just wander out over here.
Okay, I'll follow you.
If I recall correctly. Is this right?
So as you can see, the Deadwater live on the edge of the third or most northernmost region. Now things are
right here. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just saying, now things are really getting dense and dangerous, and that's where we get the stranger monsters. And Jeremy, tell us about these guys.
So these guys are in the lore. We were super excited to do them. If there was one monster we wanted to do, it was this, because it was so very different from every other monster. I mean, it's basically just like a big ball of snot. I mean, what's not to like about that? Of course, I'm not necessarily selling it well, but look how it gelatinously moves. It kind of feels right in the water. You also note that it can pop out little bits of itself, and then it can make little pokey protuberances as well. And I think also it can kind of trap you in its gelatinous ooze.
Mm-hmm.
So you could actually get stunned and sort of stuck inside Jello style. And then we're also feeding up the voroplasmic corpses. Basically, if it kills, fictionally, if it kills an NPC, a monster, it can then repossess those bits and pieces, and basically the gelatin will possess it and pick it up and then use it as sort of its own sort of zombie.
I guess there really is always more room for Jello.
That's right.
God.
See, I like
God.
You're going to fit in really well here.
What else? We could. How about we walk towards Dominus Fatum? Kind
I
of
think
show
that's a
that
good
off.
idea. We're probably going to have to fight our way through, but we got a couple of interesting areas to show you. I will try and lead us around stuff, but if anybody gets bushwhacked, say something. Oh, hey, here's an Argonian behemoth. Normally, these guys are just bosses in delves and stuff, but we figured they have to really show up in the zone. I mean, they got to live somewhere.
Why not here?
Yeah, and I mean, they're deadly. They're scary monsters, but we figured, well, they should show up here. We have other ones. We have the Hajmoda. You may have seen. We passed one a little earlier, and then there's these Hist Guardians. They're kind of like giant lurchers, but they're propelled by the magic of the Hist. Oh, did you guys get in a fight?
Oh yeah, with an Argonian behemoth.
Oh boy.
I think we might even. Maybe I'm speaking too soon. We seem to be doing well again.
No, we got it.
I like the crocodile ads. This guy gave me nightmares when we were playing him in Maelstrom.
I finished them off for you.
It was you. We couldn't have handled it without you.
There's that Storm Atronach. Yeah, so you're playing the class I usually play, the Summoner guy.
Normally I play, oh my god, the new class.
Oh,
my brain sort of went, yeah, I play a lot of Warden in my downtime.
No, they're cool. The Warden would actually fit in really well here, because it's doing all kinds of nature stuff, too.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, so you can see a lot of the new trees and fixtures and stuff. Oh, here's a gas blossom, in case you missed it the last time.
Oh, yep, there it is.
As with most of our traps, they're not initially lethal, but if you are not paying attention and you hit one or two of them, you can quite easily die.
So these guys are Blackards. You notice that the leader of them is a Naga, but over here, I mean, you've got what looks like an Imperial to me. So, a reminder that not all Blackards are Argonian. The people from all over the world were stolen and taken to Black Rose Prison. I mean, justly or not. Yeah.
I can't help it even on PTS. It's an addiction.
Right.
It's like looting. I'm like, I mean, the cool thing about looting is you do get to see what you get. Speaking of, and we kind of talked about it, but the armor sets are available from drops from mobs, from the group boss events, from the delves, from the quests, from the chests. And pretty much everything you touch at some point or another is potentially going to get an opportunity to get some sort of a piece.
Notice more of these fallen Zanmir stuff, the ancient construction. One of the things that we've got throughout the zone too are shrines of Sithis. Sithis is to most people a god of death, but to the Argonians, Sithis is a god of change. And so they still worship Sithis, even though they're most devoted to the Hist. So you can explore around the zone, you can find a number of the shrines, and there's actually an achievement related to them. Oh, horrible. I knew there was one. But yeah, so much of this this zone is delving into Argonian culture and history. Anybody who plays through this stuff is going to become an expert. Okay, we're getting close. If you look up here at this cliff, look way up.
Oh, hey.
So, crocodile, stupid crocodile. I was showing things off.
So that's the Teeth of Sithis. That's one of our two delves. You're seeing one of the two pointy bits, aka teeth. There's as we get further around, we'll see another vista. But yeah, I think they did a really good job of kind of setting it up so you really get a cool vista as you're coming in. In fact, actually, a lot of the third region, there's bits that you go up into that kind of fully, expand out into, sort of the hidden canyon sort of feel. So that just feels like around every corner there's a little more. And yeah, here now you can start to see the second Zanmare.
Let me see. I think if I get down here, I'll get a decent view. The Teeth of Sithis, obviously named after the deity, but they're an ancient construction, and it's two twin Zanmirs that are joined by a rope bridge. And when you go inside, you actually have to work your way up from the bottom through this long sort of dungeon area. There, see up over the waterfall, you can see the hanging bridge.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, you know, our world builders, Dan Montoya and Charlie Shenton, they came up with the idea, and then our designers worked with them to create a story that involves these vampires who are, you know, still practicing Sithis sacrifice to gain power. And it shows again how the Argonian view of Sithis and of worship and everything has changed, but how there's still some people stuck in the past. But anyway, I think it's just an awesome view, especially right from this bridge. You can see the waterfall. You actually enter underneath that waterfall up there.
And if you're looking straight ahead, you can also see the other cool bit, which is the Dominus Fatum, which is this Imperial. Is that Imperial?
I believe it's an Imperial ship.
How did it get there? Who knows? Not even us. There are many hints that may be spread around.
Well, remember I said the coastline changes, you know. But yeah, you can go up there. You can go inside it. You can find some interesting information. There are a couple of NPCs who will talk to you about it. So it's kind of cool.
So why don't we, instead of going into Teeth of Sithis, which is a Zanmare, why don't we go into the house,
that's a good idea.
Lilmoth Zanmare, so we can show you kind of the friendly version. And there's a bit in there that I think turned out just freaking amazing.
Yep.
So if you're up for it, if you want.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Awesome. So hit M, and then you will see a black house icon just to the north. Left click it, and you will go into preview mode for the house. Now we'll be in different instances, so we won't see each other, just so you know, but it's relatively easy to show you the most, I'm about to curse, the coolest bit, let me say it that way,
exactly.
rather than cursing. But yes, there's one bit that I think just turned out really cool, and this is something that from an early part of the zone, we just loved the idea of a cool reveal where you had a Zanmare that was sitting on a lake. And
that's awesome.
It'd be cool if, and you load it in.
Mm-hmm.
If you walk through the front door,
kind of straightforward,
up the stairs-ish to the right, and then you go down the stairs straight ahead of you. We said, wouldn't it be cool if part of it was under the lake? And then the art team just went mad and built this, just what I think turned out so cool.
Oh man, this is awesome.
I love the bubbles and the fish and the little anemones. It turned out even cooler than we could possibly have imagined. They just did such a cool job.
But how much is this gonna run though? This looks like it's really expensive.
I have no idea. We don't have anything to do with the pricing or the structure, but it is.
I definitely need this.
Sure. So the cool thing also is when you're in furniture editing mode, you can actually put furniture out there. So you can't walk around there as a player because we don't have players swimming and we didn't want to do hacky things to kind of do a bad job of it. But you could totally set it up as a cool ass. There, I said it cursed. Sorry, I guess.
It don't bother me.
As a cool diorama, or a nice aquarium bit.
Well, I think of it as like a life-size fish tank. I'm going to put statues and rubble and stuff in there.
Yeah, you're on the inside. You get a nicer view. So if you look to the south wall, you see there's like a whirlpool.
Yeah.
Go up to
almost looks like a dungeon entrance.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, that does look kind of cool. It is actually the entrance to the inner courtyard. So this is all still part of your house. So there's just this gigantic courtyard area. Yes, exactly. So you could put Mundus stones out here, or entire crafting areas, or you could create your own Tiba Inu court, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's freaking gigantic. And this is all built, at this point we may have lost orientation, but if you were to head to the east, you kind of get back to your front entrance and you can see there's a waterfall. and that actually looks out over the bit of land that you entered in. And so if you're wandering through the zone story, you'll end up in this coolly revealed canyon area that has a nice lake, and then you'll see the bottom of this waterfall, and you'll be able to run up the stairs and go into it. So then on our side, we show you that vista, so you're still on the other side, and naturally, if you jump into the waterfall, you're going to die a grisly death. But
But be teleported back to your house, so.
yes, but not have the zone. So yeah, I just think these turned out really cool.
Yeah, the interior of the Zanmir actually has 3 different levels. We just showed you the coolest one, but there's like an upper and a lower floor. There's an entrance on the top of the Zanmir as well. So yeah, this is one of your larger houses. Players will be able to just decorate the heck out of this thing.
Yeah, that's an amazing house.
Yeah, so when we're creating houses, one of the things we're thinking about is what sets this house apart. What's this cool, unique bit? And I think that the art department and the world building just nailed this. It is just so cool. So this is a cheesy segue, but we do have a new housing furnishing, which is music boxes. There's cool or neat fixture-style furnishings that you can create or place and drop. That will play kind of some of the ESO themed music you've heard from our other DLCs and chapters, and plink plink music box style. They ended up turning out really cool, and then of course you can turn them on and off, and you'll get them from ESO loyalty rewards, Crownstone bundles, and crates, or Crown Store bundles and crates. And while I'm looking at my list, the other thing I didn't mention is we have a new quality of life improvement, which is you can now resort your characters on the character select screen. So if you were like me and your main was 3 down and it drove you freaking nuts, well, you don't have to delete a character, which I resorted to early on.
I think it's kind of fun because for me, actually, I'm not somebody who necessarily maxes out my characters. Every time we come out with a new chapter, I like to create a new character because I want to experience it right from the beginning. And so then I can put that character up on the top. It's like, so, I've been playing through the Somerset stuff. Now I can put that up on the top. And when I finish with Somerset, I'll go right into Murkmire because I don't create a new character for the DLC. But
that's a good point. Yeah, similarly, I'm building a Templar, so I now have a new character that I'm using. I have more than one of each, but that's beside the point. I play the game a bit.
He plays way more than I do, which I think is great because I get drawn into a lot of different conversations about, hey, I was doing this and this happened. It's like, oh, okay, here we go.
Playing the teaser last night and having fun. My one friend was having difficulty with the lock picking. I was mocking him.
Yes, I screwed up.
But no complaints. So since we've now resorted to picking on each other, is there anything else that we haven't mentioned that you were interested in talking about or maybe seeing that we're starting to run a little shy on time?
I think you guys pretty much hit all the important parts. I'm just really excited to get into the area and learn more Argonian lore, because I like the Argonians as a race. I have a lot of friends who are really, really keen on Argonians, so I think this could be the DLC that will draw them either to ESO or back to play it.